Welcome to the Hawks Talk podcast. All things Blackburn Hawks.
In behind the defence, cuts around, scores! Blackburn Hawks win this game 8 goals to 5.
All the latest news, player interviews and much more.
Shoots, scores!
Hawks Talk.
Now then, welcome on board for a brand new episode of the Hawks Talk podcast. It is the first one of 2023 and a long time in the making. It's good to be back. I'm Graham Hamilton, your host, as we talk about all things Blackburn Hawks. What a great show we've got lined up for you. A very special interview coming up soon with some exclusive news. So at this point of recording, we are sitting 6th in the Morally on 15 points, having played 19 games, won 7 and lost 12. Lots of hockey still to be played. And thank you once again to NHL Stats on Facebook for that information. I'll put the link to that in the description of this as well. The next home game is this Sunday, the 29th, and it is our first ever retro night. As we face the Billingham Stars, the Hawks will be taken to the ice in special 90s throwback jerseys. And if you've seen the pictures on Facebook, they look absolutely amazing, and you can win one of them in the raffle. The raffle tickets are on sale now, and are available at the merch table on the match night as well, or you can get yours now on the Hawks store. They're priced at just £5 for your chance to win one of those jerseys. I'm seriously going to be buying some tickets because that jersey is amazing and I need to get my hands on one. If you didn't know already, you can catch all the highlights from our home games at the Nest so far this season, all for free on our YouTube channel. Just search Hawks TV and make sure you subscribe. Well, that's enough of me waffling. Let's move on to this episode's interview.
Hawks Talk.
Here with us now for the first Hawks Talk of 2023 is Hawks head coach Dominic Osman. How are you, Dom?
Yeah, doing well, thank you. How's yourself?
Yeah, I'm not so bad, thank you. We're also joined by Hawks assistant coach, former D-man and Steve Hurst #1 fan, Ollie Lomax. How are you, Ollie?
Not so bad, G. Yourself?
Aye, not so bad. Not so bad.
Good lad.
A few weeks ago now, but how was the holidays for you, Dom?
Yeah, really good. Good time off. Seems like forever that we've had off, just a lot of family time, and but starting to get back into the swing of things here. It's only taken about a month, but yeah, it's been good. It's been really good.
How about you, Ollie?
Yeah, similar. Just at home with Nicole and the girls, but it's been a shame with the fixtures, like Ozzy said, but we managed to get down to a few Rovers games, which hasn't been the greatest lately.
Definitely. Well, it makes sense to kick off with the most recent game. There's only been one so far this year, like we've mentioned. Away to the Widnes Wild. Talk us through your thoughts on that game, Dom.
I did an interview with is it BSN or BASN TV at the end of the game. Honestly, I'll reiterate what I said there, and it's just, it was heartbreaking for the guys mainly. Really did feel for them because the effort that they put in, I felt that they deserved to come out with 2 points in that game. And one thing that I always preach is that we do this and we do that, we do it right, we do it hard. We're going to come away with something, and we came away with something. I didn't lie, but to be honest with you, we fell short. But it's just disappointing the way it happened. Both teams played pretty well, but I feel like we outplayed them the whole game pretty much. I watched the highlights, and I actually asked for the tape and everything, and just because I thought it was a great game, and that we played probably one of the best complete games that we've ever played. We played for 60 minutes, 61 minutes, and we just had a couple bad bounces. Going up 3-0 in the third, the guys didn't just sit back on it. They did play for the third period. We outplayed them in the third period. We get a bounce going our way, then all of a sudden it's 4-0 instead of a puck going off of Kinger's face and into the net. That was going 10 feet wide. And then Hager coming around. Clearly, Ollie doesn't agree with me, but after watching the highlights, I can 100% say he was looking for the pass back door, and it just hit our goalie, and, it hit Aldell in the skate, went in, and all of a sudden it's a 3-2 game, and they're building with all the momentum in the world. I don't think we did anything terribly wrong in the third goal. They threw the puck at the net, they crashed it, and a good bounce happened right on their tape, wide open net, and bad bounce in OT again, and game's over. So, in my books, it's a win. Not maybe not on the standings, but a win in my book for the guys taking the next step, playing another full, complete 60-minute game. I don't think we've had one since Whitley, and I don't think we had one all year like that, where we haven't shut down and played the whole 60 minutes. So that's to me, that's the game in a nutshell. Not sure what Ollie's thoughts are on it, but that's it for me.
What was your thoughts on the game, Ollie?
Yeah, very similar to Dom. I mean, it's heartbreaking to see the guys' reactions afterward. It was a very quiet dressing room after, but again, you have to credit the opposition at times. Like, Widnes didn't play great, and they found a way to win. Like, they've been doing it for the last couple of years. They've like become a solid mid-table team. So you have to take your hat off to Hager and the guys over there for sticking with it. But they didn't beat Alex with a good hockey goal until overtime. Like, that is the best I have seen Alex play, and he's been a stud all year, and he was awesome. There wasn't anyone that was beating him with a good hockey goal on that night. He came from bits and pieces plays, and like Ozzy said there, it was I don't know. It was just a wave from the building momentum, and I have to say the following that we had and that we've had all season, but Widnes is a special one for me because we always get a big following that come over and back the guys. But yeah, just I don't know, just a little bit of naivety on our parts. I mean, we're young. We've said that we're young, and lessons will be learned from that game. But Ozzy's probably been a little bit generous to him. But we do have to learn how to close out a game. Yeah, it's great and stuff, but ultimately it is a point dropped when we're up in that position, and the guys know that, and you can't say that they didn't work hard and stuff like that. But I don't know, sometimes things go against you. We seem to have had some bad luck all year, really. Me and Ozzy don't think we've actually caught a break all year. Like Snip, I love the guy to death, and he threw one in with his palm over at D-side, and I admitted it to me 5 minutes after the game. But like we've not had that luck. But the Nottingham game before Christmas, D-side before Christmas, and now coming back in, we've had 2 training sessions, and the guys have worked the bags off. They've been sweating at the end of it. They've come back in shape after Christmas, and what a good performance to put in first game back. And we're going to be confident going into this weekend, and like ultimately, there's absolutely zero pressure on us going up to the national champions on Saturday, a top class organisation in Solway. We played really well last time. We've got nothing to lose. We might as well throw the kitchen sink at them, play our systems, try and get what we can out of that game, and then we need to be looking to use the momentum of our home building and get a win over Billingham like the Dragons did last week. So we're in a good place as a group.
Now, Dom, it's just gone past halfway through your first season here with the Hawks. How has it gone so far, in your opinion?
I think it's gone great, to be honest with you. We've always preached that we're going to rebuild, and we always knew it was going to take time. And I think with where we are now from where we were, in the beginning of the season and talking about it and stuff like that, Ollie sees it in me, especially because in the beginning, I didn't get as frustrated. If we ended up losing a game like that, but because we're so far along now, and I feel that we're further along than I expected us to be, it was frustrating. And for me, I feel that's a good telltale sign of how the season really is going and how much progression we have made on the ice. Off the ice, the progression is a progression. It just keeps taking steps forward. I mean, those guys are doing an unbelievable job, Graham and Carl and all the volunteer staff and everybody that we have going. I mean, we've got probably about 6 different WhatsApp groups that I'm involved in. It's constant, but it's awesome because you see all the work that's going in behind the scenes, and it makes you want to work harder for the results on the ice. And I feel like the guys have seen that too as well. We have a really, really good group of guys. We've got a couple that just aren't there yet. They're right on the cusp, but I don't think it's been really fair to throw them into the fire and stuff like that. They've done an unreal job, but they're just not quite there yet. So to me, being as frustrated as I am at this time of year, and a few games just before Christmas really showed me how, okay, you're frustrated because you do believe in this team and you do believe in the guys that are in the room that can get the job done. So that's my sign to say, you know what, actually it's going really, really well. I mean, we've taken some massive step forwards and making our connections. And that was something that we always talked about doing. And we don't think that anybody's at this level has made the connections that we have in this short period of time. I don't think they've ever done it anyway. The amount of connections that we have all over the place. I mean, you're looking at Elite League, National League, NIHL 2. Took a little bit longer to get up than I wanted to, but we were kind of focused on that top part for a bit, and we built top downwards, and I do feel like it's going really, really well. But we are just missing a couple key pieces because we still want to be as competitive as possible. We want to win hockey games, but we also wanted to hit on that development. We preach that, and that's what we're doing at the moment in time. Like Ollie said, we've had just a run of luck, but in a good way. We lose a couple players to the National League that we're supposed to have all year. That's a good thing. It's good luck on their guys' part, and it's good work for themselves and from us. But also it's a little bit, okay, now what do we do? Who's going to replace those guys? And then you have the guys who are on the cusp of the higher end of the NIHL 2, breaking into the NIHL 1. You've got to put the pressure on those guys to step up, and then the guys who are not necessarily meant to be first, second line on this team, because a lot of it is they're progressing. Their first stint here, getting the ice time that they're getting. So we're putting pressure on guys a little bit sooner than we really intended to. So otherwise, like I said, I feel like that's that's going to change with the organization, the way it's going. It's they're making it an unbelievable attractive place to play. And that's not just from the on ice and us as a coaching staff or them as players. It really is coming from the top down, which is Graham and Carl, and the way they take care of the players and the professional atmosphere. I mean, we've got a physio there every training practice, every game. I don't think anybody really has that. The equipment managers. Graham steps up. Carl's gets his nose dirty. So for me, as a whole, as a group, I think it's gone unbelievable. And I'm really proud of where we're at right now. And so should everybody else.
When we spoke before the start of the season, I asked you, what did you think the standard of the league was going to be like? Now you're about halfway through a season. What's your opinion on that?
It's right where I thought it would be. I think the gap between the National League and the NIHL one's a little further off than I thought. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer. But I still feel that there's definitely guys capable in the higher ends of the lineup on all the teams that are capable of playing in the National League. But as far as the guys progressing that want to come through the NIHL 1 to the NIHL are a lot further off than what I originally thought they would be too. But that's not that big of a deal, because now that we've been able to see it, we've been able to clock it, we know the level, the difference. If a guy's breaking into the league now, how long it could take before he's he needs to be at the top end of the NIHL 1 to be able to play in the the National League. That's all there is to it. And when they do jump to that level, they may not even be a second line guy or third guy line. They might be that role player, which they need to establish first too as well. So it's a lot about trying to find out these young guys' identity, about what type of player they're going to develop into, what type of player that they want to be. But that's got to be up to the player. That can't be up to us. As far as I know, each and every player have to play the basics, which is a role play. If you can't play in a role play in this league as a role player, you're not going to make it to the next level, no matter how good you are. Because you have to play that role plus whatever type of game you want to play on top of it. So that's what we're kind of focusing on with our guys at the moment. But as far as the league play goes, I think it's right where I thought it would be. I flirted with we all flirted with me even playing this year. But I'm looking at it now and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, I'd have had to been in a hell of a lot better shape than I am now. And even that I could have got into to be able to play at that top level to show the guys exactly what needs to be done. So for me, I think the standard's a little bit higher than or it's right where I thought it would be, but the gap between the national and the NHL one is quite big. The gap between the national 2 and the national 1 is a little bit bigger than I thought it would be as well.
Is there any players in the roster that you think could make that step up now?
Yeah, there are a couple of players. Obviously, you've got those players, but it's got to also fit with what what they want out of hockey as well.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't really say, oh yeah, that guy'd be great. He should go this, that. You can't necessarily push him. You can provide the option. You can provide the pathway. But the fact of the matter is, Ollie, they always give me shit about it, but you got to go through the levels. And these guys have gone through the levels and can play at that level, but does it fit within their lifestyle? Does it fit where they have to work? None of these guys are making a living NHL 1 National League either. They're not just playing hockey. They're playing hockey and working. They're semi-professionals, so they have to it has to fit everything. And the guys who are moving are usually the younger guys, right? Who don't really have that job and stuff like that right now, or they're just looking. Yeah, exactly. So they're looking to commit to hockey, which is great. And that's what we're trying to establish as well. We want to make sure that guys have the best opportunity, because we also know that they do have personal lives. They do have, jobs and things they need to look after. So, we definitely have a few guys that I feel that can play up there. It's just a matter of would they want to go up there to play that role before they can get into what they want to accomplish, in that league too as well. And that's got to be up to them. But yeah, I feel that there's some guys that are quite, that they're on their way. So,
which of the teams you've faced so far have really stood out for you? I mean, Solway's probably an obvious one, but is there any other teams that you've been impressed by?
Well, I mean, Billingham, I like the way that they play, and they're a younger team. You look at the average age. I'm a stats guy, and I always, I'm silly when it comes to it, but I look at how young our team is and the average age, and who's the average age, and who's the leaders and who's not. I mean, Solway's still technically quite young, but at the same time, they're still one of the older teams in the league, right? And they stand out because they've had those guys in the league for quite some time, and they can all play and they all know how, and they're under good coaching and under a good system. But Billingham, they've been doing the same thing that we've been doing. They've been concentrating on very local talent, right? And they got a couple good imports too as well, which helps boost those guys. So they, I like them a lot. I think that they're underrated. I see a lot of posts about them and how they shouldn't be where they are and stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, well, no, they actually freaking earned it. They play really, really well in their old building. And they're, they know what they're doing. They know how to play the building, use the momentum, but they just know where to be, know where to go. They know where every guy is going to be. And they have some talented young players too, as well. So, they've surprised me a little bit more than I thought. We've only seen Sully Hull in the beginning, of the season, but as far as I'm concerned, yeah, Solway and Whitley, they are the top teams. And they're hard to beat when they're firing on all cylinders and they have all their players playing. It's going to be, on any given night, it's going to be hard to beat them, but it's possible. We proved it. we were just as short as Whitley was when they came in. So we, there's no excuse there. We outplayed them, and they played well. I didn't think that they played a bad game either. And it was good to get the compliment from Lobby saying, wow, like, you guys beat us tonight. You guys played really well, because I don't think that we played that bad. That's a hell of a compliment, So, but yeah, I mean, otherwise, I don't. I think that we're on par with all the other teams. I just think a little bit of puck luck and a little bit of a couple calls maybe that go our way differently, which maybe happens the next half of the season or even maybe next year, gives us that extra couple wins. Because really, in reality, I feel like we should have 3 or 4 more wins. That's my honest opinion. And like Ollie said, we laugh about it all the time, because if you don't, you'll cry. But we haven't had any luck, no luck this season. But we have to make it. We have to make our luck. In a game that's 3-0, like Ollie's talking about, he is absolutely right. We need to put away the other 2 or 3 chances. If you do, it's a 4 or 5-0 game, and then it makes it almost impossible for a team to come back in the last 5 minutes. So we're missing that little bit of a 1-2 punch. But I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised about what's to come.
Indeed, to be discussed later. Ollie, you're very familiar with all the teams in this league and the league itself. What's your opinion on the standard of it this season, and how do you think the Hawks have got on so far?
Go easy, Ollie.
One second. Night, Freya.
Shout out.
2 secs. We're live on Hawks Talk, Freya. You shouting out? No, right. Night, mate. Right, sorry about that. Yeah, no, the league is a lot better than a lot of people think. When people come into it, like, that haven't been involved before, and I said this to Ozzy. I said you'll take some time to just find your feet as such in the league. But I don't know, any team on any given night can play really well. Just Solway have got that consistency, but it's not just their ice hockey team. It's the people who are at the top. Like Martin Grubby's been there a long time. Jamie Thompson, good friend of mine, he's involved in Scotland Juniors. Like, he's assistant coach full time now. Players like Rick Bentham, Peanut, Ross Murray, Struan Turner, like, they've been the backbone of that team for like 5 or 6 years. Like, Hawks fans listening to this, when we were successful back in 2015, 2016, that team that Jared Owen built, we built that for a good 5 years, and we gradually finished third, second, won the playoffs, second again, and then we finally got over that last hurdle and won the league championship. So Rome's not built in a day, and I think that we're way ahead. We're absolutely way ahead of where we thought we was going to be. Like, me and Ozzy, we talk near enough every day, probably twice a day, once in the morning, and probably once at night. But we're way ahead of where we thought we should be. And like, a lot of these young boys as such that we took on in September, they're developing into like young men now. Like, me and Ozzy aren't safe in that dressing room. Like, they rip us just as much as they rip each other, and that's good to see. But like people like Sammy Warnock, he's quite quiet, but he's one of the most funny guys in that locker room now. Rids is like elevated his game. I've always said he's so underrated as a player. When you put Rids with like top end guys, I've not met anyone who doesn't like playing with Rids, and I think his game's gone to that next level, and he's rightly got a letter on his shirt, and similar to myself, and he's been around, he's come through the development, and he's enjoying his game. Aaron's doing the gritty things, and he's leading by example, and he's blocking shots, and he's just getting the younger guys accustomed to the league. But I'll probably say, like, I'd agree with what Ozzy said. We're probably 3 wins shy, but those 3 wins have just come from bad puck luck at times, and like we have got a good run of games coming up now, and the teams that are in around us, like we've got the D-side games, and I think they're going to turn into like such a healthy rivalry with us. Like those witness games, like that little triangle of us, witness and D-side, they're going to be like great rivalry games, and like I do miss playing in them sort of games. But if we can snatch what we can snatch out of those guys, we've got Sheffield to come again. we've got Billingham at home, who I think if we can turn up and use our rink and our facility, we're looking at getting something Sunday. But yeah, I'd like to think we're probably a couple of wins shy where we should be, but ahead in the project terminology.
Now, we mentioned it earlier, we've got lots of youth in the roster this season. How do you think the lads have gelled together? Has it been a gradual thing, or was it there fairly quickly?
No, like I said, when they came in September, they were all like quite like they were still boys as such. Like people like Matty Cross, like he practiced with us all year last year, and I probably got 3 or 4 sentences out of him. But he's one of like the funniest kids in the dressing room now, and they're like a good group of mates. Like Marcus Thacker, like I would have hate to play against him, and that is the biggest compliment you can give someone. Like he will go out there and he will do anything for that team. Or if me and Ozzy said anything to Thax, he would go out and do. And like our goalie combination as well, like
Unreal.
like they're unbelievable, and everyone compliments us on our goalie situation. And like either of them, they're like brick walls in there, and they work really well together. Like they really get on. And like when we have Dave Clancy out with us, who's an absolute legend, so shout out to Clancy. Like when Clancy comes out with us, he enjoys it. Like, but you can see the dressing room, not just the players, but like this is including Beth, this is including Anthony. Yeah. Me and Ozzy like to stand back a little bit, but equally we're in there when we're explaining drills around the board. They'll pull Ozzy up on something, or if he's drawing something, like it's light-hearted. But then when the drills start, they get to work straight away. And like it's not just the kids that are playing; it's like the parents as well. We have to take our hats off to the parents who bring them out to practice, because a lot of them, they haven't got the licenses yet, and they're all drinking the brews in the crowd, and they're all enjoying it. And the club's in a good place collectively. Like, but it's mine and Ozzy's job to get them ready to go out on any given weekend. And like this double header weekend, I know it is quite ambitious playing the national champions, but we're looking at getting 4 points, and then we're looking at finishing as high as we possibly can, and then going into the playoffs with some momentum. And then like you can do damage in them playoffs if you time it right. So yeah, the team's building on and off the ice, and me and Ozzy, like we are proud of more so what Ozzy's built, but what we've built as a coaching staff. And Darren and Steve Hurst come out with us every week. You know how much I love Steve and how the club loves Steve and stuff like that. And he's an unsung hero, but yeah, they are building slowly, and they're a great bunch of guys to work with. Ozzy will agree with me.
Oh yeah. I mean, just on the back of that, when we first got on the ice, I had an opportunity to skate with a few guys in the beginning and get them out to training and just run them through drills and stuff before we even started. And it's the little things. I don't know what it is about ice hockey here in this country, but when you miss a pass or something like this, and the arms go up in the air and the head goes in the air, and you stop skating and you do this and you do that, and like you fall over and you just lay there. Like, I don't know why, but for some reason it seems to happen a lot more around younger players here than I've ever seen before. And that's not a get at or anything like that. I just feel like that was the first hurdle that we had to jump. And guys had to understand that this is it's a different animal altogether. It's not juniors. It's not, you get hooked, you fall down and you stand there with your hands in the air. Or if the play's offside, you put your hand in the air and stop playing. Well, no, sometimes the calls get missed. If that goes in, if the goal's scored off of that, the ref's not going to change his mind because you put your hand in there. You got to keep friggin' plugging away and keep going. All that stuff was the start. And it was some of the older guys too as well. And, we needed to get away from that kind of stuff. And, the bickering a little bit here about you need to do this and you need to do that. Look, focus on your game. We've and I'm not saying it was horrible, but there was that, and from quite a few guys. But the fact of the matter is the guys have learned, and the guys are learning. And basically what you're trying to teach them to start is to respect each other and to do battle for each other And when that happens, then, you have a common theme, you have a common goal. And that's what you're trying to do. Now, we know guys are here trying to develop for their own personal reasons. That's fine with us. And we're always going to help that, always going to push that. But if you're only here for yourself and you're not here for your teammates, and you're not here for myself and the organization, most of all, you're not going to be here. That's it. That's the end of it. I don't care who you are, where you come from, what we talked about in the beginning. You come here, you earn that spot, you keep that spot, because if you don't, somebody else is willing to do it. And I think throughout the season, we've kind of, mainly in the beginning, we had to really clamp down on that stuff. That was the first hurdle. And it's hard to do that right during the season, and like I said, there's things where happen when that does happen, guys get down and then, oh shit, they scored a goal. Well, don't stop playing. They scored a goal. It's hockey. That's going to happen, and well, when it's Solway, oh crap, they scored 3 goals. Well, it's Solway. They're going to score 3 goals, but the fact of the matter is we've had to really kind of bring it back to basics from the beginning. That was the biggest thing. And when I talk about basics, I'm talking about baby steps. And, a lot of my practices, to be honest, if I went through them, I'd be like, God, this is boring stuff. It's hard and you're skating, but it's boring. Why am I going all the way down there, sprinting there, stopping there, chipping here, doing this, doing that? Well, it's because it's never been done before. You've never been taught that before. This is what you need to understand. You need to learn. You need to support. You need to do this. You need to do that. So for me, I said, you know what? I'm going back to as basic as I can even remember as a 12-year-old playing. That's basically how we started coaching. And I told Ollie this, and I said, and we will progress, but we'll progress a lot faster when we do these little things. So everything's a build up to something else. And now that the guys are buying in and building into that, they're starting to do the basic things without even thinking. It just comes second nature. But the good thing is they're old enough to understand that now they pick things up quicker, right? So there's a reason, but it's not just, hey, do this, do that, and do that. Well, I want you to do this, but this is why we do this, right? And that was the biggest hurdle we had to get through was those two things, was the very, very basics and the fact that you guys need to come together as a team and play every minute of this game. Otherwise, you're going to get walked all over. End of. That's it. Nobody's going to care for you. The refs, the other team, they do not care. You play the game. That's the way it goes. Keep your mouth shut. Play the game. Do it. So, and like I said, that was the biggest thing that we've had to overcome, and I think we've managed to do it. And I applaud the guys that are buying into that, and that struggled with that to start because they didn't have that to begin with, but they're now starting to understand that, which is a great thing to see because that's part of development, right? So, I mean, let's take Corey Nielsen, for example, Nottingham. He tells you to do something, you just do it. You don't ask. Obviously, if you don't understand why, you ask him, okay, well, what's the angle behind that? Not, well, why do I have to do that? So it's good. I mean, the progression, everything that we've hit on has slowly coming into play. And that's where we started to really catch our momentum just before Christmas, which is a shame that we had the 2 canceled fixtures because I think we'd be further along. And I don't feel that we would have lost those 2 games at home. So, and that brings momentum. You've got 2 games like that. All of a sudden, you have a great game against Widnes. You have a couple wins under your belt. You're going into Solway in a doubleheader against Billingham. Now, all of a sudden, you're going in with a load of confidence, right? So, as far as the building process goes, that it's coming, and it's coming faster than I thought it would. Which is great, which is excellent, and that's the guys. That's not really us. We put the things in place. But if the guys don't buy it, if the guys don't buy into it, if they don't do it, if they don't, go through the little boring crap that you're trying to teach, then they're not going to be any better for it, and they're just going to fall off. So, but the good thing is we haven't seen that. We've seen improvement in every player.
So one question that I have, and it's for both of you to answer really, do you think the schedule of games this season, it's been kind of broken up, hasn't it? Do you think that's had a positive or a negative impact on our season?
Well, this is my first season, so I have no idea. I think that the scheduling's been all right, like I said, except for, we understand the reason why D-side had to unfortunately, cease playing for a bit there. It's completely understandable about that. But when a team doesn't show up, like Nottingham to play, it's just not really that fair. But like I said, we'll find out this weekend. The guys should be raring to go. So it could be an advantage, right? To play more hockey. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that the schedule it's been good for us. I've had no issues or no gripes about it really, to be honest with you, except for, obviously the lack of games in this month.
Yeah. What about you, Ollie?
Yeah, I don't think it's been the best, to be honest. I mean, I don't think we play enough games as it is.
I agree.
I therefore think we're a lot better for having the likes of D-side in the league, and obviously we had to wait for them to get the home ice ready. And I'd like to think it's been worth the wait. When we went over and played those guys, it was a good game, and it's a good place to go and play a rivalry game. So we're a lot better off for having them in the league. But yeah, I don't think we play enough, anywhere near enough as we'd like to. Like, you turn the clock back 10 years, we used to go up to Fife and Dundee and Paisley Pirates and stuff like that, and like Murrayfield when we played them a couple of years ago. I personally think the way forward is some sort of Celtic League competition like we had before. I think it's unfair on those teams stuck in the SNL up there. I definitely think they could add a bit of quality to the league, and then we could, with my business head on here, we could maybe lose some of the more pay to play teams. But that's just me just spitballing here. But yeah, especially as a supporter, like with my supporters hat on here, we didn't play anywhere near enough games around Christmas. Like the holidays are when you're back home or your family's back home and you go and watch your local team and stuff like that, like we do when we go and watch Rovers, like I touched on earlier. Like we should be playing through the Christmas weekend, even if that it's semi-professional, but even if that means like a Friday night fixture or stuff like that. But yeah, I think the Nottingham game is done as like kippers really, and that back-to-back home weekend does us absolutely no favours as a business. Playing Saturday, Sunday in the cost of living crisis, families aren't going to pay to come and watch you play twice on a weekend, are they? So like, I don't know. I think the scheduling's been a bit awkward. That's probably the best way of describing it. And from a playing point of view, the lads like momentum. Hockey players are Neanderthals at times. Like we like repetition. We like superstitions. We like playing on a Saturday. We like getting on the bus. We like playing at home on a Sunday. Like, you can't get into your routine. And like, we've got 2 games this weekend, then we've got a game the week after, then we practice every Thursday again. Now we're back. We're off the week after. But like, if we can get some momentum going, like I said earlier, we need to build and build and build, and then we want to target the playoffs at the end of the year. But in answer to your question, Graham, I think the schedule has been awkward.
No,
I agree with Ollie at that point around the Christmas time. I know, Carl mentioned to me that that we could be possibly looking at, and I won't say with who, but we could be looking at a Boxing Day fixture. To me, that's a massive, massive thing. I mean, guys, like you said, people are off. You have the long Christmas, and then by that time, people are itching to get back to it, and there's nothing wrong with having it. It's good for both teams. Whether you play one year at your place, 1 year at their place, and it gives the guys not such a long break, and I don't know, it's how many guys you would get to play that game, but that's the thing is I don't feel that a lot of people travel around Christmas. They're all home anyway. And it's good to get their families to the game, and things like that. So I kind of agree with Ollie on that point. I think that there are some longer breaks that you're just kind of like, well, that's a lot of time off. But I guess
just look at the National League, Ozzy. Sorry to interrupt you, but just look at the National League over the Christmas period. Like, I think Swindon played Bristol, like Hull played Leeds, Sheffield. Like they were all playing
three games a week.
Yeah, like local derbies and selling 1,000+ tickets. Like MK were playing Peterborough, like teams like that.
Have you got my notes, Ollie? Because this is literally what I was going to say.
Well, I'm just a smart guy, Graham. You know what I mean?
Oh God,
I agree. I think what they did over.
You agree that I'm a smart guy?
Well, you like two good football teams, so we'll agree on that. I think they did it right with the National League, which it's disappointing as a fan in our league because the National League was spot on. They had all the big derbies on over Christmas, like you say, sellouts and massive ticket sales. We could have benefited from that.
Well, it's only better for the clubs, isn't it? And from a playing perspective too, and a coaching perspective, those are the fun games to be in because you got packed rinks, you've got sellouts, you've got tons of people off. They're doing stuff. They'll even buy people tickets for Christmas, and so they tend to be the best games, and that's what shocked me. And I when I told what Carl said, I think that's an amazing thing. The unfortunate part for me is every other year we go back for Christmas to the States, and that ain't changing. So Ollie might have to take over. But like I said, it's one of those things where for the organization, you need to do it. You have to do it.
I got 100% record this year, Ozzy. one game, 110, 1 defeat, 100% record.
Off night. There was an off night. I watched the highlights. I was there though. I was watching the scores closely. But like I said, those are things that are great for the league, great for the teams. But you've got a lot of like Ollie said, you got a lot of pay to play teams that will just be like, nah, we're not going to do it. Well, that's fine. You don't need to. Let the other teams do it. The teams that want to do it. Don't be guided by teams that rightly like they shouldn't decide the outcome. And I don't know if that's the way it works or not. I'm not saying it does because I have no idea. I'm not even going to really comment about the league and how it's ran because I don't know. I don't know enough about it. From that perspective, as being just a coach, I'm just a coach. I should keep my mouth shut no matter what. It's not my place, nor is it any other coach's place to really say what, like publicly, what the league needs. If they have any issues, they have any qualms, they need to talk to the management who talks to the league, right? So there's a couple coaches on Facebook that I just laugh at, and I'm just like, or even players to that standpoint, like older players, like what are you doing? Like stay off Facebook. Like it's not just leave it. Like grow up. Like get away. So that's that. As far as games go, we don't know why though. There could be a reason. So do we feel it would be better to play more games? Yes, of course. That helps development. That's my thing. And it helps progress, and it helps momentum, and it helps organizations. Such as our organization. Yeah, I might be a little bit biased and selfish on it, but I think that we can have a hell of a game if we did that. And put us in a better position as a club. But it will also help 6-7 other teams in our league. So but as far as the schedule goes, I don't know it well enough. I haven't been here through different schedules, and I only know one thing, and that was playing 2 games a weekend, and that was in the National League in the old EPL, and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's what I was used to.
So up next, we're going to open up the floor to questions submitted in by Hawks fans and hockey fans alike. First up, we have a question from Pam Crowsdale. This is one for you, Ollie. She asks, are you looking forward to the 90s night?
Oh, yeah. Like those uniforms that the boys are going to be wearing. It's sick, man. They had them on Thursday for a practice, and they're fresh. Like a fresh, clean white and the teal and the grey. And the only thing I don't know is the covers, the short covers, do they go or do they not? But that's going to be an answer on the night. But yeah, like me and Ozzy are well looking forward to it. Like Ozzy said earlier, like we're league leading in like the organisation and things that we're doing. Like what organisation at this level has like 3 themed nights with one-off jerseys that all sell, and he's selling like
100%.
big.
Yeah, we
like
have
big,
3 jerseys
big,
alone, block jerseys.
yeah. They're selling big numbers, and these are like, I won't go out and say like they're the best, but like they're the cleanest jerseys, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
the fresh, and I think me and Ozzy have got a few things up our sleeve, like what attire we're gonna turn up in, and like
we did.
all Steve's clothes are retrofit anyway, so I think he'll fit the night anyway. But yeah, in answer to the question, yeah, we're really looking forward to it. The boys are looking forward to getting back to home ice. It's been a long time. They're looking forward to looking good, and buy your raffle tickets. There'll only be 22 lucky winners, and I know my kids are all over it. They want to win one. Unfortunately, they won a Riddick shirt last time, so you might get a decent player this time.
Yeah, and they don't even have any replicas or anything for us. So I think I'm going to buy a couple raffle tickets, because I think that out of all the shirts, besides obviously the Armed Forces nights, I think that those jerseys are sharp as hell. I love them, and I wouldn't mind having one of those hanging up in the gym. So
you've got a gym?
Yeah, I don't use it. It's just for old jerseys.
Isn't that a man cave?
Nah, it's more of a storage area, but it's got all the jerseys up in kind of sequence order. So I definitely like one of those ones up there. That's for sure.
Not got any Red Wing shirts up there, have you?
No, just my daughter's first jersey was a Red Wing jersey, so that one.
I was going to say you don't need a dartboard then, but I'll not say that because it's your daughter's jersey.
No.
Now, next question is from Kate Jackson. This one is for you, Dom. She asks, now we're a fair way into the season. Where do you think we can realistically finish this year?
That's a question that I'm not going to answer outright. Sorry, Kate. I'll do my best to work around it like I do everything else. But I feel like we should finish, just above Widnes, Solihull. I feel like we're right there with them. I don't know. I have no idea. It all depends, how things go for the rest of the season, where other teams are, what happens here at the deadline. It can go both ways. Realistically, I thought that, we won 9 games all of last year. If we win 9 games all of last year, and we're already at 7 now, which to be honest, I feel we should be at 10, 11, then it would be an improved year. So 1 win past what we won last year is an improved year for me. Realistically, I feel that we should finish somewhere mid-table. That's where I feel that we should finish. I'd like to finish above D-side for sure. I'd like to finish above, obviously, D-side, Nottingham, Sheffield, and try and catch Widnes or Solihull, whoever's in that spot. That's where I'd like to be, and it's a hell of a great year. But I'm not going to judge how good of a year this has gone just by where we finish, because the steps that we've taken, to me, I feel like we have finished up there. So.
Now, this next one is from Bay Hockey Radio's very own Adam McMahon, friend of the show as well. He asked, this is for both of you. Firstly, do you know how to beat Billingham? If so, can you please let Whitley know? And secondly, how are the team performing compared to your expectations at the start of the season? I think we've covered a lot of it, but if you want to chip in.
Yeah, I think we beat Billingham 13 times in a row. More than a couple of years ago now. So yeah, we kind of had their numbers. I remember one playoff final. We'd already beat them 6 times, and they managed to get to the playoff final against us. And one of them tapped me on the shoulder and went, "Oh, we're coming for you." And I just went, "Oh, like the other 6 times you came for us this year." And I think we pumped them and we won the trophy. So that was pretty cool. But I know where Adam's coming from. I know they've been turned over the last couple of times, but that's only healthy for that rivalry up there. I mean, Whitley have had the number over those guys for best part of 2 years, but like Ozzy said, Billingham has so improved on this year, and like Sykes is having another great year. They've still got Mikey Elder. the kid Brown in between the pipes, he's having a good season, and like the younger lads, like they go to the right areas, they do the right things. So to beat Whitley, like in Whitley over a 2-legged affair, like you have to take your hats off to the Stars and stuff like that. And they started down this route, like they've got that made in Billingham thing that they put on Facebook or Twitter, but you have to like actually say it's come to fruition now, because a lot of those players have come through that system and they come from the Teesside area and stuff like that. So Adam's just going to have to just take it. I think I think he's had the wool over their eyes, but again, like fair play to Adam. He's great with the Bay Hockey Radio, and he's a great interviewer, and I love catching up with him when we're up in Whitley. So I hope you're doing well, Adam.
Next up is one for you, Dom. What's been your favourite part about coaching in Blackburn so far?
The guys. The guys have been great, and that's everyone. The people. I can't say just the guys, the people. To be fair, I didn't know what it was going to be like, coming into it, and there was a lot of unknowns for Sarah and I, and Isla even. But the minute I met, with Ollie, Carl, and Graham, it was clear to me that I was getting involved with the right people. And the people that you want to be involved in, and the people that you want to get back into the game with. For me, I lost a little bit of it. When I left the Pirates, I think it was just a lot for me. With the amount that was on the plate for myself and for Shane, and I think it had a run at both of us, to be honest. And it kind of deflated me when it came to hockey for a bit, and I thought, I need to walk away from this now, otherwise I'm going to lose it for the rest of my life, because I was starting to not enjoy it. Not any specific part of it. It was just the amount of it, and how it was just draining you, and the things that were completely out of your control that you were stressing about. So I think that my favorite part of being back in it is literally working with the group that we're working with right now. Nothing else. I can't say nothing else, but it's made the on ice part come a little bit more natural. I was nervous about that too, because I've been out the game for a little while, but I just felt like, because I had the support that I have with Ollie and with Steve, and now Darren, and then the support you have from the ownership and the volunteers and the fans, and then the players, them buying in, and the mutual respect that we have for each other. It's the people. I have to say, I haven't once been like, oh shit, I got to make a 2-hour drive tonight on Thursday to get, you know what I mean? Like it's not a short drive coming in from Hull every Thursday from work, but not once have I thought, oh, I could really do it just going home. And that, again, to me, is a sign that I'm absolutely loving it. I look forward to the weekends. Like Ollie said, we talk 2-3 times, sometimes 2-3 times a day. We're always on with somebody, but it's never a chore, and that's it. But then I've got to say, game nights, they're so much fun, especially home nights, home game nights. I just love the atmosphere, and I don't know, it gives you that that spark that I was missing for a while. And even Sarah said it, when hockey was kind of pushed aside, I lost a bit of me, I lost a part of me, but to have it back and to be back with the people that I'm enjoying working with, that's got to be my favorite part.
Now, finally, one for you, Ollie. This is a brilliant one. There's no name on this one. What's it like living in Steve Hirsch's shadow?
Yeah, that
he casts a big one, doesn't he?
I think everybody lives in that shadow.
I just with a little bit more training, I think he might be able to reach the other end of the ice with his wrist shot. So if I keep giving him some tips, hopefully he might build up some strength and manage to reach the other end of the ice with his shot. But he's coming along. He can lift the puck now and stuff like that. So he is learning. But nah, joking aside, everyone who listened to the last pod, they all know how much Steve means to the club, and Elaine as well. Like they're both there every Thursday, every weekend, bringing the Sanny Miggs on the away trip and the Harry Balls for the boys. Just a shame he's not making a Benidorm trip because they were all booked on up until last week, and he's had to pull the plug. So I believe he's all mouth.
Could you imagine?
Oh yeah, Steve Hurst on fire in one bar on the strip, and we go straight into the next one. Can we have Steve Hurst on fire again? Weren't you guys just next door? Yeah. Put it on.
I've just got this image of him like drunk, passed out on one of them mobility scooters, just getting dragged through the strip.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah, he's a legend, isn't he? He loves it though. He honestly, like, he loves it. He loves every single minute of it, and the boys love it. And like, we go right back to the beginning of this pod when we was on about the Widnes game and stuff. Like, I was excited to get the song on in the away dressing room because they only give us one room. Like, the other room was empty. They shoved us in one room. I don't know if it was a bit of gamesmanship or something, but we were all crammed in one room, and it was just. I was gutted that we couldn't blast that for Steve, and he even brought a change of clothes in a carrier bag.
Unreal.
Now let's fast forward. We've got a big weekend coming up. We've touched on it before. Solway and Billingham this weekend. Dom, what are you expecting from this weekend?
4 points, nothing less. That's what we always go for. We're here to win hockey games at the end of the day, and that's what we want. But I am expecting the guys. To be honest, I'm not even. I don't even have to expect it from them because I know what kind of effort we're going to get out of them. There hasn't been one performance this year that I've been disappointed on effort, and we need to take what we can and focus on Solway. Then we worry about Billingham when the time comes. We just need to take it a shift by a time like we did when we went up there. I'm expecting a good performance from the team. We've got a bit of a boost coming in as well, so I'm sure you'll ask about that in a bit. But yeah, so we want to upset. We beat Whitley. We want to beat Solway. That's what we want to do. Everybody wants to do that, so that's what we plan on doing.
What about you, Ollie? What are your thoughts going into the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, there's no tougher place to go than the Ice Bowl, but we put a really stellar performance in there last time, winning after 2 periods, and ultimately we kind of let a classy organisation back into the game, and they took the points. So if we can go up there and look to target 2 points, like Ozzy said, like our training session on Thursday will be with the small neutral zone, with the big end zone. So we're going to have to bear down on the walls and make sure we chip pucks out and chip pucks in and cycle and use those big zones. But equally, we're going to have to keep those guys to the outside and stuff like that, and watch players like McBean and stuff like that. And the D have got a big job, and I think that as a D core, they've been playing extremely well the last few weeks. Obviously, I work a lot with the D, and we've already touched on how good the goalies have been this year. So if we can limit them to the least amount of scoring chances as we can, and then look to capitalise on whatever we get. But yeah, there's no reason why we can't go in there and try and upset them. And to be fair to Grubby, last time he tipped his cap to us as a club and said we've run them as close as anyone's run them this season. So why can't we go and do that again? And like we've said a few times today how well Billingham have played this year, but our challenge is to beat anyone in our rink, and I've seen us beat anyone. I've seen us beat EPL teams in our rink years ago. So
yeah, I remember
if we use the building and energize the crowd, and we've not been there for a long time, and we use the retro theme, and we've just got to come to work, and it's going to be tough. But why can't we get 4 points?
Now, one last thing before we go. Dom, I believe you got some very, very exciting news for us, so I'll let you take the floor.
Well, yeah, I mean, it kind of happened quick, to be honest with you. And what we're trying to do in Blackburn is we always said we are about development. We want to help players achieve their hockey goals, but we really do want to put a competitive team together. I think that we've made a lot of waves. I think that we've turned a lot of heads, and we might get that opportunity to get some more experienced players. Having said that, I feel that with this signing, again, came from a partnership and a relationship that we've made during the season. And I think with what we're doing, it's opened a guy's eyes who, wasn't getting as much ice time in the National League as he wanted to, which is completely understandable about what, from the team that he's coming from. Essentially they've got a first line and 2 second lines, maybe 2 first lines and a second line. So, and he is still young. He is only 18 and he wants to be a regular there, which is great. And, he wants to get more ice time, but he's a team first guy after speaking to him and things like that. And, how he's talking about, he wants to develop and this and that, but his development very rarely came up in the conversation. It was, I just want to be a team guy. I want to help the team. I want to do what I can and learn and blah, blah, blah. We ended up coming to terms with Tate Shuja. He's been up in the National League all year long. He's been playing up there, and he's going to come down. And I think he's already proved he can be an impact player in our league. The short time that he spent in the league with us. But he's, I feel he's a bit further along. He's on the cusp of being that guy in that league. And I think that he just needs to hone in his game a little bit more. And why not do it while you're playing a little bit more too as well? So we've agreed a 2-way deal with the Leeds Knights again with Tate Shuja. So we're really, really excited to have him here. Really excited to have him.
What a great signing that is, and another step in the right direction. And that's the bombshell we're going to end on. Now, thank you guys for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
Yeah, cheers, Graham.
Brilliant, and best of luck for the weekend, and I'll speak to you both soon.
Hawks Talk.
Really enjoyed that one. Always good to chat to Dom and Ollie, and thanks again, guys, for coming on the podcast. Don't forget, guys, to check out a copy of the Hawks Mag. It's out now on our website for free, costs you absolutely nothing, and I'll put the link in the description of this as well. Raffle tickets for the chance to win one of those retro jerseys are on sale now for £5. They're available both at the merch table on match nights and the website as well. You've got to be in it to win it, and you seriously want to win one of those jerseys. They look absolutely amazing. Take my money now. And finally, we've still got some player jerseys still available for sponsorship. Check the Hawks website and get yourself one. It's the perfect way to support your favourite player. And that is us all out of time on this episode of Hawks Talk. Thank you once again for tuning in and listening to the show. Don't forget to subscribe on whichever platform you're listening on. It really helps us out more than you know. If you want to get involved with the show, if you've got any suggestions or any guests you want us to have on, send me an email, hawkstalk@blackburnhawks.com. I'll see you on the next episode. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.
Hawks Talk.